couple of things I want to talk to you about is I coach real estate people over the country and discuss their business. And hopefully if you come on, just let me know that you're on, because I have no idea who's watching this thing. We'll record it later. I've learned something by the book. If you haven't had the opportunity to buy the book, I highly recommend it. I sent it out to everybody today to make sure that you've bought the book. It's called Emotional Agility. Here's the book right here. Buy it, get it. It's very important to your business. And let me tell you why. Most of your struggles that you have right now in prospecting, trying to get your business going to that next level, is all in your head. It's all mindset. And what's happening here is that you're not separating yourself. Let's just take, for instance, prospecting. And I have my little trusty little board right here to help myself to explain the situation for you. But I've noticed that we all have these patterns that we're in, right? We're in this little pattern, let's just say. And in this pattern of not prospecting is distractions, right? And these distractions supposedly are very emotional to you. You've got to take care of them, and you got to take care of it right now, and you're not going to prospect. In the meantime, we're slowly going out of business. And she talked today, and I mean today, I sent it out to everyone today, about these points in your business. And these points in your business are what we call change points. What's a change point? A change point is when you decide you either go to prospect or you don't, right? And in the book, if you have challenges with prospecting, if you have challenges of getting things done, you're at that point where you need to change. And that change point is either going to work in your favor or not. And she calls it choice points. I call it change points. You're going to make a decision to make a choice on whether you're going to prospect or not. Guys, the market has shifted. If you haven't seen that already, you know for a fact the market has shifted. You're in a situation where in some markets it's deep, some markets not. If you haven't been in the business more than 10 years, you're going to see what we call a normal market. And if anybody wants to chat in, let me know. If you've been in the business longer than 10 years, you've seen a situation where a normal market used to take 90 to 120 days to sell a house. Actually, a normal market used to take close to a year to sell $1 million home plus. A year. So what happens? Well, at one time, we're taking listings for 90 days. We're taking listings for 120 days, thinking that's going to work, right? Or some people are taking them for a month or two. You're going to really have to, a couple things. Number one, understand that you're going to have to take listings for a longer period of time, whatever that may be. So basically, you're going to take listings at a longer time. So let's go back to all the elements, what's going to happen in the changing market. So we've got terms for listings going to be longer, right? We've got a situation where you're going to have to price ahead of a declining curve. Hey, thanks so much, Brian, Eddie. Thanks for doing that. And thanks for being on. This is the first time I'm doing this, and I want to get your feedback. Plus, I'm going to be doing this on a regular basis because I'm noticing that there's not straight talk happening. There's so much going out there as far as coaches and information, and I'm calling it almost snowflake coaching. It's not that good of a term, but it's true. What's happening in prospecting is that we are now needing to get back into the basic. This is going to be a skill-based year. And the challenges are that if you're having trouble with prospecting, it's because you haven't changed from the individual who you are to the role that you have to be. The role that you have to be today is someone who has a lot of influence and authority. Influence and authority and expertise. How do you get that? Well, first of all, if you're having trouble breaking patterns and behavior, definitely this book right here, highly recommend you get today. Read it, understand it, and know that you're in some type of hook, because the hook could be looking like this, or the pattern could be that you are prospecting every other day, or you're only prospecting 2 days a week, or as soon as something happens to you, you get off of prospecting. Listen, we're in sales. We're in sales. Since the history of sales, you had to pick up a phone. You have to talk to people. I know we have social media, we have all these other things going on, but for you to survive this year, you got to get on that phone and you got to find more business by being able to articulate influence, authority, and expertise over the phone. Because everybody right now sounds the same. And just if Brian or Eddie, while you're on, and thanks for being the only two right now on, but maybe you and I will be able to figure this thing out for your business. Don't forget to, am I saying something here that makes sense? Because all of a sudden you get wrapped up with business and you're not prospecting. You can't do this in this type of market today. I mean, mortgage companies are letting go of people. I know of large real estate companies that are now reducing their expenses and shutting down certain offices just so they can make sure they can survive this year. And really what happened is that we went too bizarre, if that's a word, bizarre, in the growth of the business. In other words, we started buying too many things, doing it as a company. So now we're shrinking back down to a normal market. But for you to do well, I want to give you this diagram. If you don't mind drawing a triangle. If you're in a car, don't draw a triangle. Obviously, if you're driving, you can't. But if you can pull over, or if you're at your office, you want to draw this triangle right here. And let's just say this is your real estate business. Here is the individual who you are, the I, and the R is the role. The biggest challenge with real estate people today is they stay here all day long. What does this mean? This is you, the husband, you, the wife, you, the son, the brother, whatever it may be, is the individual who you are. When it comes time to prospect, you have to change who you are. You have to play the role. And that role means that if you're someone who's very amiable, you have to step it up. Because if you're talking to someone who is a very driver personality, someone who is demanding over the phone, and you're just a soft-spoken type of person, you're going to have to pick it up. Unless you don't want to make a lot of business. Now, the trouble with staying in this role, or this I, not in the role, is that if you stay as an individual all day long, you get out of bed, you get ready to go to work, you're your dad, you're in your dad mode, or you're in your spouse mode, whatever it may be. And as soon as you get into prospecting, you don't change, you don't transform. It's almost like going into the phone booth like Superman and transforming into Superman. If you don't transform into the prospector who can handle 4 personality styles over the phone. 4. And I know some of you have had DISC and all these other profiles, but really there's really 4 basic profiles in personalities. So that means you have to be in this role that picks up the different personality styles. Because if you stay as an individual, you're only going to probably get along with 2 of them. If you're very soft-spoken and amiable, you're going to get along with an expressive person and someone who's amiable. If you're a driver, you're going to get along with an analytical, and you're getting involved and feeling good about a driver. But those other 2, the soft-spoken, emotional people, it drives you nuts. And your job is to be able to transform into the role of a prospector who can adapt to a variety of people in a variety of ways. That means you have to pick verbal and nonverbal cues up in your presentation and in your phone prospecting. You've got to listen to who these people are. I mean, I've been teaching this for a long time. I can tell you from my perspective, learning it has saved me in many conditions in selling, to be able to sell someone. That means you have to get into this role. And that means there's got to be some type of prep work to transform into that role. You can't just jump into prospecting, which everybody just does. Most of you guys over the years have gotten in this habit. This is why that book, Emotional Agility, is so good, because you got to unhook yourself from a pattern you've been running for so long that has not been working to get you to higher levels of production. Okay? It's almost like working out, right? You got to change the routine. But the more you change it, you get to that choice point and you continue to change into the right direction, that becomes a new habit. Let's get back into this thing. So the role, how do you prep before you make a call? Well, you're either reading your scripts, you're maybe making a phone call to your accountability partner to get your mindset prepared for prospecting. Okay. That's going to be a 15 or 20-minute routine that you go into. You jump into the office. Please, if you are addicted to email, if you are just freaking out over your deals, don't look at them. The oxygen you need in your business is your ability to prospect. If you're not prospecting, I can tell you right now, guys, this is going to be a tough year for a lot of you. And I know you would love to buy something that will give you the ability not to prospect. I know there's all these platforms. Internet is only 1 to 2% conversion. That's all it is. 1 or 2%. So you either got to do that a lot, which is taking a lot of your time for a 1 or 2% return, and that still doesn't guarantee that. So let's think about what we can do, all right, that can actually get your business going much quicker. You prep yourself up. You have an accountability partner, as I said. Next thing I want you to remember is I want you to write the word for this word right here. This side is called approach. So this side, I can't write it upside down, but the A stands for approach. And I'm going to teach you today the ACE method of prospecting. And what's great about this, guys, is that you're the only 2 people on, and you're going to get it firsthand. You're going to be able to use that today. Okay. So the ACE method of prospecting is that I want you to write the word approach right here. Okay. I can't do it upside down, but the word approach is on this side. That stands for the A. And what happens is your approach to your prospecting has to be right so you're ready to make the approach. If you don't have a good approach, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. And if you'd like to, if you haven't, Brian or Eddie, the other people that are going to listen to this later, if you haven't been to my Facebook page, private Facebook page, the Prospecting Locker Room, get on there because I can give you some things and download it to you. But you really need to start off all your scripts with what I call the rejection-free opener. The rejection-free opener. Don't use their names. Do not go, hi, good morning, how are you? All right, that smells like a salesperson. What's happening with the market today is that the consumer is so educated on how salespeople sound that you're getting clicks. Believe me, I got them when I first started. Okay, so if you're getting a lot of clicks, you're getting a lot of hangups, the way you get on that phone in the beginning is causing that to happen. Good morning, Mr. Whatever. Thomas Smith, is this? What happens is, here's my recommendation, do not use a person's name. I don't care if it's on a piece of paper in front of you, do not use the person's name. Because if that person is named Bill, like me, and you call me William, I'm in trouble. Right? Someone's got to try to sell me something. So we don't want to use the word or use a name that you don't know for sure. Number one, is that the way you pronounce it? Or number two, is that really them? Whether it's expired or for sale by owners. So what you've got to do is use the rejection-free opener, RFO, on all your scripts. And if anybody knows what that is, type it on in here. If you know what the rejection-free opener is, type it on in. And I'm not sure, Eddie, if Eddie or Brian, if we've spoken before, but the rejection-free opener is something that will help from a psychological standpoint connect you with that person immediately over the phone in the first couple seconds. Okay, so the rejection-free opener goes like this: Hi, I'm not sure if you can help me. I'll say it again. Hi, I'm not sure if you can help me. I want you to do this today while you guys are driving around, going to something with your family, whatever it may be. Do that to a service person. Hey, I'm not sure if you can help me. I'm trying to get a room at this hotel, whatever it may be. Watch the person zone right in to your talking, whatever you're saying to them, to understand what that is, that they have to find out whether or not they can actually do it. Right? You're challenging them. You're challenging them. And what happens here, they want to know whether or not they can help you. So to start every script, hey, I'm not sure if you can help me. I'm calling up the home for sale at so-and-so street. Is that still available? And I know you have to identify yourself, so we don't want to get really too long into it without identifying ourselves. So then we're going to do, hey, my name is Bill Crespo. I'm with so-and-so company. I just wanted to find out if that home was still for sale. What's happening, we're getting a lot of hangups very quickly. Now, I've been coaching for a long time, prospecting. I've done my workshops for the last 6 or 7 years around the country, and I'm seeing everybody mess up in the beginning. And then once that consumer subconsciously gets the fact that I'm dealing with a salesperson, the whole rest of the call goes sour on you. And I understand that. So we start the beginning off, and the purpose of this whole ACE approach is that you sound more like a consultant than you do a salesperson. So your approach is so important. And I talk a lot about it in my programs, the fact that you have to have influence, authority, and expertise in your approach. Okay, you do that by having a commanding voice. You can't do that if you have a very soft voice and you're saying, listen, I'm trying to call, and it's very soft. If you're talking to a driver at the other end, you better pick it up. Your tonality has to be good. You've got to have, I can't talk on this microphone like I talk at home because I don't project. And so over the years, when in my 20s, I was a DJ and I did a lot of stuff on camera and on a microphone. You have to change your voice. So your voice, as I'm looking at myself here, has to come from around right here, deep. If you have a very high nasal voice, you've got to come deeper in. It sounds more authoritative and you sound like you have influence. Okay, very important. So how do you fix that? You got to record yourself. You're going to have to listen to your voice. I know it's sickening. You're going to have to do that to see how you need to adjust that because you're only hitting 2 personality styles. You want to be able to get all 4 of them to respond to you. I don't have a lot of time today to go over it, but there are some things that I could show you later and how to do that. That's why I want you to get to my Facebook page. So the A stands for approach, tonality, commanding in your voice. As I coach people around the country too, I'm doing a lot of ISAs, inside salespeople, and what I'm noticing too is they ask permission to do something. Hey, can I? Do you mind if I send you this? I mean, if you're the doctor, you're not really asking. You're telling them what the next step should be. Here's what I recommend you to do, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller. Here's what I recommend you to do. Instead of saying, hey, is it okay if I sound like a nurse? You don't sound like a doctor, so your approach is wrong. Next thing I want you to write here before we hang up today. The C in ACE stands for conversation. Okay, conversation. So the approach, the conversation, this is the guts of the call. So in conversation, you've got to ask powerful questions. You only have maybe time to do 3 to 5 really powerful questions. I know you can ask a whole bunch of questions, but your scripts can't be that long. And you're going to have to ask a question and be quiet. So many times you ask a question that I see when I'm coaching that people go, hey, so let me ask you this. Are you looking to get your home sold by spring? Or maybe is it good? And you keep asking another question. The brain is trying to listen to you. So always in your conversation, you must ask a question first before making a powerful statement. But the question you need to ask and you need to be quiet. Let them answer. Don't step on their words. And it's so easy to do that because your anxiety builds up as you're talking over the phone. Now, we're talking about a conversation that if there's a lead here, that's going to take 10 or 15 minutes. If there's no lead here, we got to get off this phone call and get into another phone call. But the conversation will let you know that, right? A couple things in the conversation. You do not attack an objection in the beginning of a script. In the beginning of the call, do not attack the objection, meaning you deflect the objection by saying that's an option. So we're thinking about going back with that same agent. Well, that's an option, and go back to your questions on your script. So this conversation, once you have the approach right and you have the conversation going, now we're getting to the last part, which is E, which is standing for end game or end result. Okay, so in that end result now is the close. Now here's what I'm promoting to a lot of people right now, and the drivers have a tough time with this, so I'll help you with this, is that, and I don't know if you guys are doing the preview approach, but I like that. Now, I'm all for closing on the phone if you have that ability to close on the phone. Okay, if someone's giving it to you, man, we're really ready to sell. We had a tough time with this one agent, and we're ready to go. Close for the appointment. But I want you to close like a consultant, not closing like a salesperson. Hey, Bob and Susan, it sounds like you guys been through a lot and I can hear it in your voice. Here's what I like to do. I like to come over, spend 15 to 20 minutes to discuss what I do that sells lots of homes in this marketplace. I know you have a choice to go with anybody, but listen, if I feel that I can't help you or that you rather do something else based on what I'm saying, I'm okay with that, but it doesn't make sense to check out all your options. Okay. So you're speaking in a different type of dialect. You're not even talking, and I don't mean dialect, you're talking a different language that a salesy type of person is talking. And I know, based by talking to all these people that I coach around the country, that's been to my workshops, that talk to me and ask me questions, is that these scripts are becoming so salesy. Now, when you go to these Facebook pages and you're copying someone doing something, because I have my clients go, listen, I saw this guy say this. It's working for him because of him, his personality, or her. Doesn't necessarily mean it makes sense in general. So what I'm coaching you on and what I'm talking to you about, 80% of the time should work. 20% of the time, there's something could say, if it's working for you and you're doing something different, don't change it because it's working just for you. But in general, when you're speaking to someone, you want to speak in a consultative approach, not a salesy approach, because they're sick and tired of this. So your approach has to be in a way, let me ask you a question, Mrs. Seller. Do you need to be sold today or do you want to be sold by spring? Tell me a little bit of what would be your ideal situation. Let them talk more. We're cutting them off. These people want to talk. Even a driver personality wants to talk, even though they want to cut you off. So going with the preview approach, rather than trying to close very hard, we know through the research that was done through Harvard that face-to-face contact is your best conversion. So we need to get in front of the people more often. We got to get to their door more often, get in the house, then go down the route of closing. So what does that mean? When someone asks you, well, do you have a buyer? I just want you to tell them the truth. Unless you do have a buyer, tell them the truth. There's no reason to go, well, here's the script that I always hear. I have to see your house first to see whether or not I have a buyer. If there's a match, whatever that script is. Just tell them the truth, because it's hard to go back into that house and it's a bait and switch. I'd rather you say this. No, I don't have a buyer right now, but my company has buyers coming in all the time. When's a good time for me to stop by? Today or tomorrow? So, when you're looking at this ACE process, the approach, the conversation, and the end results, the person starts to feel three things. When it's done right, there are three elements inside of this that people subconsciously feel from you. Number one, the H stands for honesty. They sense that you're an honest person when you talk in a less salesy demeanor. Number two, the T stands for trust. They trust you. Okay, and if somebody says, well, what's the difference between honesty and trust? One is more like a feeling, and one is a more of a concrete type of way. You're an honest person, but trust is deep down inside. The next one is E, expert. Okay, honesty, trust, and expertise. When those three things are conveyed to them, they feel this about you on the call. You've got yourself a good conversation that could lead you to an appointment. The trouble is that if you do this too much, if there's too much honesty and trust that they sense, then you're over-rapporting. And then when you over-rapport, they see you as a nice guy, nice friend, no big deal, and then you lose the listing or you lose the buyer or seller, whatever it may be. You have to bring in expertise in this conversation. They have to sense what you know about the market. And you don't have to give them exactly about their house, but you do have to give them a touch of what you know. And you got to do it in a way that's not salesy. Like when you go, anybody here gone to Costco, right? You go to Costco on a weekend, you can have dinner, lunch, whatever you want. So they demonstrate all their products. They do that because they want to sell the product. So what, you go up to a little counter, they've got cheesecake, you got a blender going on, and hey, that looks really good. They make you taste the thing. And then what do? If you like it, you buy it. Showing expertise on the phone call is like going to Costco and letting them demoing the food. You have to demo your expertise. This honesty and trust comes from how you're talking to them over the phone. When you do this correctly, you now separate yourself from the competition. You're no longer sounding like the other real estate people that are out there. And now you've put yourself in a whole new class, right? But to get there, remember, you've got to be different. To get there, you're going to separate yourself from the I and the R. And if you're having problems right now with this position, not prospecting, not changing your tone, losing deals, not able to close, I'm feeling awkward about being pushy. If you're still stuck in that situation, you're over here. You've got to cross over to the role. The role is what's going to separate you from the competition, but you're a different person here. This person is on their role, 5 or 6 hours a day. Then you go back to being whatever you want to be when you go home. No one jumps out of bed, can't wait to prospect. That's for sure. All right. So here's what I want to challenge you guys on is I want you to challenge yourself and look at all the choice points in the day that you're making the wrong choices on and make the right choices. Because you can't wait not to prospect. I get that. But in 2019, if you don't get your butt in gear, if you don't get yourself calling people you don't know more and get out there and start to have more, be a little more brave. Be a little more, have a little more courage in getting out in an area that typically you're not going out in. Because you got to be calling 3 hours a day, guys. You're going to have to be really good now with listings and getting those prices down because they're not going to sell right off the bat in certain price ranges. So now you've got to have a dialogue in getting prices down. So in the beginning of the relationship is where this all starts. And actually it starts right in the beginning of the call. Because that person that you've originally called your prospect could be that listing that you're going to get. And then that listing is going to be a person that maybe that price starts to change and you have to talk to them about changing that price and reducing it. So I always say what affects you downstream, whatever difficulties you have with your clients downstream is because upstream didn't happen very well. So here's my thoughts. I want you to become an ace prospector this year. I want you to blow this thing out because I'm telling you for sure that if you're someone who raises their skills, starts to learn how to present themselves in a way that's completely different than your competition, it's not going to be that hard for you to win. But you're going to have to change some of your behaviors and find out those choice points that you're making the wrong choices on and change that behavior. Now, as I said today earlier, I did a Facebook post in my private Facebook page, is that you've got to do that more, right? So these choices that you're making that are difficult at times, that keeps you back on track, you've got to keep doing them. And the more repetition you do in that, the more you'll start to see changes happen. And then all of a sudden that becomes your regular habit. But I could tell you right now that if you would like to have the information on how to do all of this, just tell me. I think I may have a webinar or something like that I've done where this is the ACE way of selling and your conversations on the phone. But if this doesn't happen, you're out of luck, guys. Okay. So if you don't change the individual who you are, and if you don't change it to the role that you need to be in this marketplace, you're going to be stuck. And I'm telling you right now, they're just sailing into the year right. I mean, they're getting good leads, they're making the calls, and they're breaking these old bad habits. You know, I didn't really want to make 100 contacts a day. In the old days, if you guys probably heard, we didn't have these mojo dialers and all these other things. We had to dial left hand, right hand, and have 2 phones, 2 headsets with 2 microphones. And I made about 10,000 calls a year live. It's much easier now. And I'm not that thrilled about the dialers either because it kind of runs too fast. You lose the quality of the call. So if you're interested in just having an assessment on how you're doing your prospecting, is it working? If it's not working, what do you need help with? I'll be more than happy to do this. I grew up, my mother was a teacher, my sister's a teacher. We come from helping people to get better. And I took the business route. My other family members took the other route through education. I did the hard knocks way, guys, and I know it's hard out there. And I know at times you're struggling and there's so much information out there that you have no clue what the right information is. I'm going to take you back to basics, the things that you need that are important, because all you need is your mouth, your brain, and your ears to be at the highest level possible this year, and you'll make a lot of money. Your return on your investment will be much greater investing in yourself than it would be on landing pages and all this other stuff that's going on. They're helpful, believe me, but you could have all that stuff and have a real lousy presentation and have poor skills over the phone, and that gets you nowhere. You're holding back on things that you need help with. So I just want to say thanks for being on today. I hope this helps. Anything that you picked up today, who's on, a couple more people came on, that was helpful for you that I could understand, or any subject matter that you would like me to talk on more, because I think Monday at 2:00 is going to be my time to give you the information. So just before I get up, just type in what was helpful for you today in this little short time with me in understanding what I just talked about, or what you need help with. Because if you tell me, I could send it to you. As long as you give me your email address, I will send you information. If you need scripts, let me know. If you want to know how to be more powerful over the phone than to use a salesy approach, let me know. I spent 35, 40 years in sales. And I can tell you, I screwed up like everybody else in the beginning. And I also know when you don't have enough leads, the best thing to do is to pick up your phone and make your calls. You should be making at least right now 5 center of influence past client calls per day minimum, so that you cycle in. We've got to start to sift. These other real estate people are slowing down right now because they don't really know how to take this marketplace. So it was helpful to understand how to change from the individual to the role. It's an acting job, basically. But when you're in the same individual all day long persona, you're not aware of how to be for certain other personality styles. So I really appreciate you saying that. I want to say thanks for being on for just a little bit with me. I'll be better at this as we continue to go. I just want to get out there because I think there's some information that's being said out there that is not really building the right foundation for you. So this is Bill Crespo with Path to Pro Coaching. Check my website if you like. I'll type it in, www.pathtoprocoaching.com. There's a couple courses. You can go to my training center and get a couple courses that are out there and start to get your business going. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye. So what'd you think? Were those tips helpful? Can you use them like right now? Would you like some more information on how you could generate, convert, and actually present at a higher level? Or is there anything else you may need that we can help you with and Path to Pro can produce? So do me a favor, in the comments below, right down here, let me know what you need so I can create it for you. Here's another thing, share it. Share it with your friends, other people you may know that may need some kind of help, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, okay? When you subscribe, hit the bell. That way as I add new videos, you'll get it and you'll be able to know when it's okay and when you could just start to look at it, okay? So thanks so much for being on Path to Pro TV and watching the videos. Start to work on it right now. Start to take your business to the next level and your skills, and subscribe, make some comments, ring the bell, okay? Look forward to talking to you next time on Path to Pro TV. Bye.